Hello, this is Karen Greenhouse. Today I'm just going to show you a very quick demo on how to access the picture menu items and to fit a curve to a picture. Casio Prizm comes with a lot of built-in pictures that are amazing and fit kind of every level of student that you're working with, whether you're going with just linear equations or quadratics or exponential. You can probably find a picture that's going to allow your students to fit a curve and find the things. So we're just going to do a really basic one. We're going to find a picture. We're going to plot some points. We're going to show you how the list comes up and then how to plot the curve. And you can do a lot more than that, but we're just going to do some basics right now. So the first thing is when you're in the menu, you're going to arrow down to the picture plot. And once you're there, you're going to choose execute. And you come up with a file that has lots of things in it. It's got some movies, it's got some pictures. So we're going to arrow down to the picture files and we're going to hit execute again. And it brings up all my pictures. You can pretty much find a picture that matches anything you need. So I know that I'm going to use, so I'm arrowing up because I know it's at the kind of the tail end in the alphabet, but I'm going to go to this sunset one because I've been working with bridges pictures lately, so I have this one in my mind. So I'm going to hit execute, and you'll notice you get a picture with curves, and so we've got some curves, we've got some vertical lines, got a truck, so we got lots of things that we could plot. So we're going to focus on this curve of our bridge, which is a real world example. So what you'd want students to first do is to plot. So you'll notice I don't have any options here. It says up at the top, press option button, which is found right here next to shift. So when I choose that, now I have some things I can do to this picture plot. And so I want to actually plot some points, which is what you would want students to do, especially if you're trying to have them determine the equation on their own. You get a pink arrow that allows you to move throughout the picture and plot some points where you think it's necessary. Since we're working on this curve, I'm going to plot points at each of the intersections of the vertical to the curve. So I'm going to position my arrow kind of right at that intersection, and once I've got it where I want to hit execute, and it creates a point. And I arrow over to the next place that I'd like to plot a point. And I'm going to try and make it be as close to that little intersection as I can before I hit execute. Every time I hit execute, it creates a point. And again, you can do as many or as few points as you want. I'm doing just the points at these intersections, but you could conceivably have a lot more points directly on the curve, depending on what your students are more comfortable with, how you're having them find the regression line. So we're gonna, almost done here. I've got two more I'm gonna do. My last one that I'm going to do, and execute. So now I have these points. It looks like it's a curve. So then, I'm going to think, what kind of function is going to fit that curve? I'm done plotting. So notice it says to hit exit. So I'm going to hit the exit button. And it takes me back to the menu, but leaves my plotted points. So what I want to do, if you're working with students, you probably want them trying to come up with their own equation first before you let the calculator do it. So you can easily see the points that were plotted by choosing F3 under list, and it gives you a list of the points that you've plotted here. And working with students, you'd probably want them to find their own equation and variables and coefficients that way. We're going to actually use the calculator to find our line of fit. So I'm going to choose F6 here. That lets me see some more options. And you'll notice now under F3 I have a regression line. So I'm going to choose that. And I have some choices. And again, if I'm working with students, notice I have a lot of different lines I could try to fit. It's going to use the numbers here and create the line that fits based on what I choose. Now, if I'm students and I can't tell, I might do some guess and check if I'm using the calculator. And let's say they think it's a parabola. So we're going to hit x squared, and it's going to give them the coefficients all right here, the values, and it's using this equation. And we're going to see how well a fit that is. I can copy this into my graphing equation, or I can just go to draw. So let's just go to draw right now simply by choosing F6. It looks like an okay fit. It's kind of going, but notice it's starting to go off here. So it's not the best fit perhaps. So if that doesn't work, again, I'm going to choose option and F6 to get back to regression. And that one didn't work, so maybe I want to try a different one now. I'm not going to spend a lot of time guessing and checking, but your students might do that if they're not finding it on their own. But I happen to know that this is x to the fourth, so we're going to choose x5. Now, here's all the coefficients. I'm going to copy, so I'm going to choose F5. And what this does is brings me to the graph menu. When I hit execute, it actually puts that in my graph menu, and I can now go back again, and now I have the equation. So you'll notice I can draw it, and this looks like a pretty good fit. So again, let's hit options. Oops, I'm hitting the wrong things here. And go back to our options here, and notice we have define my regression line. And so there is my regression line. And if I want to see it, I just hit these arrows and I can actually see the coefficients and kind of scroll to the right to see the actual equation. If you're having students come up with their own equation first, they would probably do this step afterwards and then check theirs and see how they did. And then we can hit exit and we can go back to our graph by hitting draw. So that was just a quick demo on fitting a function to a curve of using pictures. And again, there's lots and lots of built-in pictures to the Casio. If I go to File, F1, Open, I can go back and look at all the different pictures that we have here. And you'll see there's just a whole bunch of different options for us. Let's just pick Ferris wheel, just see what that looks like. And so this might be some curves that we got trig curves that we could be trying to fit. So there's lots of pictures available already built into Casio, and there's also ways to add your own if you want to work with things around where you live. So just a quick demo. Have fun.